Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shraddha, the ability to be able to listen without prejudice and with trust, is an important qualification to cultivate. And it is difficult to have Shraddha primarily because of what we talked about in the earlier session. There is a loss of trust which characterizes the jiva endowed with self-ignorance. As long it is a loop, it's a very interesting chain. As long as there is self-ignorance, there is self-doubt, and as long as there is self-doubt, there is an overt dependence on people in the world for validation. At every step, somebody should be there to say, you are okay, go forward, you are okay. And then if that is not there, or if that person doesn't deliver in the same manner as the expectations are, then there is a loss of trust. So you see, from self-ignorance to loss of trust doesn't take that long to go. There is a very interesting chain. And that loss of trust begets itself and grows, it snowballs. And that is why, in order to bring the correct kind of internal infrastructure for this listening, Yajnavalkya tells Maitreyi, Atma va are Shrotavyaha. That correct antahkarana, and antahkarana means the mind, etc., should be relaxed, should be in a place of receptivity. And that receptivity is called Shraddha, which is, which is inherently there, but it is buried under all the raga, dvesha, fears, tears, strong prejudices, strong preferences, and it has to be unearthed. How? we need a hoe. We need a little digging instrument. And what is that? That is best described in the Yoga Sutra as Ishvara Pranidhanam. Pranidhana means a kind of a surrender. Knowing that this loss of Shraddha is a natural outcome of just birth and living in the society, living in the world, there is a loss of trust. And that loss of trust is regained by daring to trust Bhagavan. Yeah. And if we set up Bhagavan as just another mother or father or somebody who is giving us validation, it's not going to work. Sometimes that is why there is loss of trust even with regard to Ishvara, the source of the universe. So therefore, we do not say, in the Shastra, we do not say that God is infallible. That is a setup. Because the infallibility of God, if you say God is infallible, God becomes an entity other than yourself and who is unleashing all kinds of things, against you. And if something that, this so-called God does, who is outside of you, does, that makes you happy, then you say God is infallible. And if there is something that happens that makes you unhappy, then you say God made a mistake. We have to make this statement, God is infallible, do a Shirasasana, a headstand. So, the statements are also doing asanas? Yeah, that is how it goes in Vedanta. So it has to do a headstand. How should it do a headstand? We have to change it to say, whatever is infallible in the universe, that is Bhagavan, that is God. Then you see it is not a setup for disaster or failure. I look at my own life, the inevitability of my birth, of my parentage, the place that I was born, the place that I am living. So many things over which I have no control. And that is where I see the infallibility. And when I see the infallibility, then there is the beginnings of acceptance of what is. That what is Ishvara. If you try to spell Ishvara in English, what are the first two letters? Is, I-S. Is. We have talked a lot about is. That is Ishvara. And that is where the lost trust can be regained through this place of acceptance, which is not a place of defeat. Acceptance is not defeat. That is life, that is the life before Vedanta. Like acceptance, oh, I give up. No. Acceptance is a very dynamic quality, an attribute that can be cultivated. And acceptance is a radical attribute that is cultivated. It's a radical acceptance of what is. And in that acceptance is hidden the surrender. And here again people get very agitated potentially. Why? Because, so I should just accept whatever it is. Somebody hits me and I should say, this is my karma. We are not talking of that. Have healthy boundaries. Defend yourself whenever possible. Forget defending yourself. Don't get into the situation where somebody wants to hit you in the first place as far as possible. Okay? All this we do. All this we do. Protect yourself, have healthy boundaries, and we are talking of that which is inevitable. And this distrust one keeps on fomenting by trying to change the inevitable, by trying to change that which cannot be changed. That is why we have this beautiful serenity prayer. I'm sure everybody knows this. Grant me the grace to accept the things that I cannot change. That is what it is. This is what we are talking about. And that's why it's called serenity prayer, because it brings a certain peace from which you can listen to, you can take off. You can take off. It makes one, gives one a certain settlement. The mind is settled, the heart is not clamoring for something or the other, and everything is, it is okay. I am okay. Somebody wrote a book, I am okay. You are okay. The Vedanta book, if it were to have, it would have a title, I am okay, even if nothing else in the world is okay. That is Vedanta. No matter what, you are okay. Everything is okay, really. If you are okay, everything is okay. And so therefore, this cultivation of pranidhana means surrender. Surrender to what is a surrender to Bhagavan. God is a surrender to Ishvara. Because what is Ishvara, it is manifest in the form of the laws of karma over which you have no say. And it's manifest in the form of other jivas, it's manifest in the form of this entire manifest universe full of varieties of names and forms, some of which appear inimical, some of which appear friendly. All of them together constitute this reality, this empirical reality that has to be negotiated every day, for which one requires help. So the prayer of a freedom seeker, a seeker from, of freedom from samsara, must be, let me be in a place of acceptance and courage to face that which I cannot accept. Give me the courage to face. Courage and acceptance are the other two sides of Shraddha. Shraddha is in the middle, courage on one side, acceptance on another side. That is how you make the Shraddha sandwich, okay? Yeah, so Shraddha is in the middle and you have one side. You can call it a slice of bread or bun, which is courage. The other side is acceptance. It all goes together. Everything, it's a package deal. So that courage comes from knowing that this is not a mistake. That's where we say infallible. That which is infallible is the Lord, the Goddess. So it's not a mistake. To have had this particular challenge in my life is not a mistake. To have had this particular difficulty in my life is not a mistake. It's not Bhagavan's error. That which is infallible is Bhagavan. That which is error-free is Bhagavan. To know this is a great blessing. So therefore, one has to befriend Bhagavan, so to speak. This is the first step of pranidhanam, inviting Ishvara into your life. What are you talking about? Isn't Ishvara already in the life? Isn't it the truth of the indweller? Yes, but do you know that? No. Okay, keep quiet then. Okay, so this is what it is. Inviting, as it were, that which is already present, making it present for oneself. That is the way. And so a deliberate practice, having a small altar, and where you can just bow down every day. In the beginning, it is a deliberate practice. After that, it becomes one's life. It becomes natural. It's a deliberate practice. You just say, oh, okay, I am eating, and so why not I eat after offering something to you? Don't worry, Bhagavan will not take away your favorite food. It all comes back with extra taste and blessing. You just show it to the altar and say, this food I'm going to partake, I'm going to offer it to you first. Because of you, I have this. And then it is tastier. There is more humility. There is more acceptance. This is how one cultivates the acceptance. Very, very beautiful. And then you make Bhagavan your confidant. Why? Because if you make the significant other your confidant for every single thing, then you know what will happen? The word significant will drop. There will only be other, okay? People will get sick of listening to you, no matter how close. Then you become a high maintenance person, all the time needing to be validated, all the time wanting to be listened to. But Bhagavan has all the patience in the world. You look at the beautiful Hindu, sculptures, the iconography. All the manifestations of God are smiling. And they are saying, don't be afraid, don't fear. I am here. This is Abhaya Mudra. I am here. Don't worry. Everything is okay. And you can even get angry. How can you be smiling at me when I am having so many problems? Some more smile. It will be okay. And strangely, it is comforting. It is very, very strangely. It becomes real. It is very comforting. To have this is a source of great comfort. And then one, the Bhagavan becomes one's confidant. And that confidence, the expression of the pain at the altar, for us is called prayer. That is the prayer. Trahimam, pahimam, rakshamam. Rakshamam, protect me, save me, help me get over this difficulty. And then there is no more a sense of distrust and alienation. This practice, this simple practice of just 5 minutes or even 1 minute in front of the altar every day. That's why it's called altar, because it has the power to alter your distrust completely. That is why it is called altar. Oh, but the spelling is different. Yeah, potato, potato, same thing. But that's how the altar should be understood. That's how it should be understood. There is no other way. And at this altar, the pranidhana, don't think the surrender. Pranidhana means surrender. This surrender is not going to help Ishvara. Ishvara is not going to have a bigger ego and say, I have, out of 7 billion people in the earth, a few are surrendering to me. Let's see how many followers I have. Ishvara is not checking the Facebook account, okay? And saying, how many likes did I get? I'm doing a good job. That's not Ishvara. So the pranidhana helps the person who is surrendering. The pranidhana helps the one who is invoking, because that person is moving gradually from a place of totally being hijacked by one's own subjectivity to an objective, grounding in this empirical world. Objectively. That objectivity is really it's a very important precursor for Shraddha. And so that devotion doesn't happen overnight. It's a cultivation. Reverence doesn't come overnight. You feel like you're faking it, but faking it, as it were, you make it. You unearth the reverence and the devotion, which are two different words for the cultivation of trust. And that same reverence, now, having cultivated this trust, the same reverence, the light of this reverence is shined upon the Shastra and the Guru. You have that same attitude. You just transfer, or you extend that attitude of trust towards the Shastra and the Guru, the teacher. Why? This is a very important question. Why should I do that? Because, the Shastra is in the form of a means of knowledge. This is perhaps the most compelling reason to do Sravanam, to hear the Vidya, to start a process of conscious and committed listening to the teachings. This is perhaps the most compelling reason. And what is that reason? Because, you see, every knowledge, when knowledge takes place, and we are not talking of self-knowledge, we are talking of any knowledge. You don't know something. You have to know. And so between you, the subject, and between that object of knowledge, what is the connecting element? How do you know something that you don't know? And the answer to that is, you have to deploy a means of knowledge. Supposing there is a flower and you don't know that this is a flower. You don't know that there is a flower, so the flower has a shape, a form, and in order to bring that form of the flower to light, you have to operate the means of knowledge called sight. You see, and then the flower is there. The flower is there, and then you say it has this many petals, it has a wonderful fragrance, and then you come to know that it has a name, it is called clematis, it is very beautiful. And so you can, so this is how the one comes to know anything. Then same thing with the hearing. You hear a strain of music and you identify it. Yes, this is a particular melody, a raga that has a particular setup of, certain notes, ornate notes and this is ornate notes tied together going in a certain way. Then that is what is called a melody. It is this particular melody you identify because you use the means of knowledge called hearing. And then what? Same thing. You're on a walk and then somebody in somebody's house is making very nice pakodas. How do you know? Did you go into their house and see? No. The smell of these fried fritters wafted into the nostrils on the walk, and you say, aha, too bad I don't know these people, otherwise I would have gone and rung the bell. But this is how these are all means of knowledge. And we have the five primary means of knowledge: sight, hearing, the five sense organs, touch, taste, and smell. Five means of knowledge. And then these are called primary means of knowledge, pratyaksha. They are of no use to understand the eye, because the seer, then the content, the nature of the seer is eye, and the nature of the hearer is eye, the nature of the one that is picking up the smell is eye. And so therefore these means of knowledge cannot be useful to know the eye, primarily because it is that the eye, the Atma, is not an object of sight, smell, hearing, etc., etc. So, but then what to do? Then we look at some other. These are the direct means of knowledge, pratyaksha. Then we have some other means which are based on pratyaksha, which are based on the direct means, slightly indirect means of knowing. One is a very important one, is called inference. Inference means you get up in the morning, look out of the window, and all the roads are wet. Then what do you infer? Somebody took a big hose pipe and wet all the roads in the night when I was sleeping. That's the wrong inference. The inference is in keeping with what happened prior. This is called anumana. It must have rained. Did you see the rain? No. I was fast asleep. Did you hear the rain? No. Why? Because it was drowned out by my snoring, and so therefore I neither saw the rain nor heard the rain. All that was there is the evidence of the rain, which is based on sight, because previously when I saw it raining, I saw that all the roads were wet as a child, and that is what is now, even though I don't see the rain, I can infer it has rained. This is the first type of inference. Then there are this is a one-step basic inference. Then there are multi-step inferences, upon which the whole medical science is based. And so this is what is, if it works on a rat, definitely it will work on a human being. And then what? And 1 in a million people will have a brain tumor. That's all. This is how all the medical, the medical breakthroughs happen. Multi-step inference. This is how parenting also happens, through multi-step inference alone. Where were you? The parent asked the teenager. I was at my friend's house. And you know the friend, of course. And then what? I called. You were not there. No. I was there for a bit. And then we went to another friend's house. I called there too. You were not there. You see, every intelligent parent uses multi-step inference as part of the parenting. It's a very important equipment to parenting. You were not there, therefore you were here. And I told you not to go here. And so this is how, the parenting takes place, multi-step inference. So the first one-step inference is called in Sanskrit anumana. Multi-step inference is called arthapatti. And then what? Then we have a strange means of knowledge called the recognition of absence, anupalabdhi. And here we are not talking of absolute absence. There is no absolute absence. Why? Because the one who is saying there is absolute absence happens to be present. And you cannot deny the presence of the one who says the truth of the world is zero. It's a rank form of self-denial. So we are talking of relative absence of something somewhere, of a given object at a given time in a given place. There is no pot in the palm of my hand, like that kind of absence. Why? Because the pot is elsewhere, and then the pot is not there right here, right now. Anupalabdhi. Then we have the one more means of knowledge. The last one here is called upama. Upama is some kind of a comparison. Like you can say, the bison is kind of like a bull, but different. In the same category, but different. And so, if you see the bison, you say, okay, this is not a bull, and I was told it is like a bullock, so then it must be a bison. Now, these are called pancha pramanas, these fivefold pramanas. The five sense organs are counted as one: pratyaksha, anumana, inference, and inference 2.0, arthapati, and then what else, this upama, comparison, and finally anupalabdhi. These five are the pramanas, are the means of knowledge I have in my hands in order to peck at the universe and box various things. Oh, this is that, this is that. This is what the mind is, the Raja, when it comes to all these pramanas. Which are you going to operate in order to know the I? The first direct pramanas of the sense organs gone, cross. Anumana. Anumana means what? Inference. And somebody tried that. Philosopher tried that. French philosopher. I think, therefore I am. And it is, thankfully, towards the end of his life, he changed that. He changed that to, it cannot be I think, therefore I am. The thinking, my thinking is not contingent upon, my existence. I am, therefore I think. It was a classic case of putting Descartes before Deshorse. Okay, so this is what happens when you do that. So you cannot infer your presence, much less see it as the cause of the universe, equate it to the cause of the universe. You cannot infer your presence. And then you cannot, whether one step or multi-step, all of them crossed out. And then what else is left? Oh, let's compare the Atma. Atma is like ... Well, you can't compare something that is only one, non-dually one, indivisibly one. What are you going to compare it to when there is nothing else in the universe and everything else is a mere projection of the Atma? It's like comparing a person to their shadow. They do not belong to the same order of reality. So that comparison is gone. Anumana, arthapati, the two kinds of inferences, gone. Direct perception of the Atma, not possible, gone. And then what else is left? Anupalabdhi. That is also gone, because of the inconvenient presence of the one who can never be negated, that self-evident I. So then what? How are you going to know the Atma? You need a special means of knowledge. And that is Vedanta. That is the Upanishad. The Upanishad is a special means of knowledge in order to know what you cannot know otherwise. And that special means of knowledge is operated by the teacher, is handled by the teacher. And it is called Shabda. It comes in the form of words. Therefore, Atma va are shrotavyah, those words which are the pramana, which are the means of knowledge, have to be heard. Have to be heard. And in that hearing alone, the transformation of the I takes place from a complaining person filled with notions of limitations and being unloved and unwanted to the one who is Purna, complete and resting in one's glory. This transformation has to necessarily happen. And the attitude with which I welcome this new pramana into my life is called Shraddha. That itself is Shraddha. Because this is a new pramana. And there is a lot of resistance. You know why? Because the other pramanas are operated by who? The ahankara, the I. Of course, I am in charge. I see. I can choose whether to see or not. Actually, you can't, but and we have seen this before. But I am the one who is choosing. I am the one who is operating my eyes, my ears, my inference, and all the other means of knowledge. But here, where the pramana in the form of words of the Upanishad are concerned, you have to allow it to operate upon you. A very big, again another headstand here. You cannot operate it because it is coming from outside. It has nothing to do with you. You means here with regard to the body, mind, sense complex. You have to allow it to operate. Just like when you go for surgery, you have to allow yourself to be anesthetized so that the doctor can do the job. Of course, the anesthesia helps you not to feel the pain. But also it is eminently helpful to the doctor because the surgeon doesn't want you in the way. Are you cutting in the right place? That looks like an awfully big scalpel. And I don't know if that's where the tumor is. Look again. The surgeon doesn't want your input. Why? Because the surgeon has the medical degree. And what do I have? You have a tumor that needs to be excised. So the two have to come together. And so, even if you are a physician yourself, even though there is a saying, "Oh, physician, heal thyself," physicians seldom heal themselves. They have to go to another physician and have that same sharanagati, help me. That is what one has to do. Because the excision of the tumor depends upon your receptivity for that. The tumor here is what is called in Sanskrit as anyatha jnanam, wrong conclusions about the self, which keeps growing and growing and causing pain, sorrow, distress. That has to be removed by the scalpel of the words of the Shastra. And then what happens is that there is freedom. It's not that some new knowledge is being poured into the person. That knowledge is already there. It is eclipsed by this tumor that is causing pain, sorrow, fear, anxiety, the whole gamut of what is called samsara. One is under that spell. And so therefore, just with the same kind of trust with which the person goes to a surgeon, and you can argue, oh, I first Googled the surgeon. Google the guru, no problem. Make sure that the guru doesn't have any scandals and is not behind bars and, and is not, is not on the FBI wanted list. Make sure. Do your research. And make sure that you are following a lineage that is ready to teach, that is following the Shruti. And that is why that Shrotriya I talked about yesterday. Because what we call the Guru, it's not some kind of a narcissistic cult following where everything is centered on a person. The Guru is just a microphone of the Shastra, amplifies the Shastra, just like how she or he received it from his Guru, her Guru, before that his Guru, her Guru, his Guru, her Guru, all the way to Sadashiva. Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. I salute the entire lineage, beginning with the Lord Shiva and ending with my own teacher. And the middle, we have a big gem in the middle in the form of Adi Shankara, who kept this tradition alive for us. And I salute the entire lineage. So the Guru is not a person, the Guru is a person, but the Guru is not a personality to which I pay homage. I transcend the personality and pay homage to the person. We are not bothered about the Guru's personality, which is a big stumbling block. What did the Guru eat? What did the Guru drink? All this one is not obsessed with. We see the Guru as an agent of knowledge, as a pramana to which I have no other access. That is why Sravanam. That is why the proper attitude. That is how one goes forward. Very, very important. Without which one is doing oneself a great big disservice. Shastra is available, teacher is available, ashram is available, and still one goes away hungry. Very, very sad. And that is why honing into the knowledge and letting go of all distractions is a very important qualification right next to Shraddha, and it is called Samadhanam. It forms the last of this six-pack. That focus is called Samadhanam, that single-minded focus. Moksho me bhuyat, may I have moksha, for that Shraddha, for that Shama, Dama, Uparati, Titiksha. Titiksha means the ability to put up with discomfort. I like the teaching. I like the teacher, I like the ashram, but I don't like the person sitting next to me. The ability to put up with discomfort for the sake of the knowledge is called titiksha. Without complaints, without wailing, without internalizing it, without, chinta. Chinta means anxiety about it. The ability to put up with various kinds of egos and discomfort, hot, cold, whatever. And, this is what is Shraddha. And, Titiksha. One example is during this pandemic, people who were used to live teaching had to make a drastic change if they continued to want the knowledge. You had to leave the Gurukulam because the Gurukulam was under lockdown and join the Zoom Kulam. Okay? Yeah, Zoom Ashram and Zoom Kulam. And in the beginning it was very difficult for people to just go, and then and then you see other postage stamp sized people and everybody is just sitting on a screen, very distracting, and one is not able to have that focus. But if you really wanted that knowledge, you had to have titiksha. In the past 18 months, one has, and it was hard for some teachers also. Some of them told me, it's very alienating, I don't know how the teaching, whether they are understanding or not, whether it's being received or not, I don't know. And perhaps it was a wonderful, invitation for such teachers to let go, who are not used to online teaching, to let go of what happens to the word flowers that they drop in the universe. Whether they are received or not, it is in Bhagavan's hands. This is titiksha. And then samadhanam, as I said, single-minded focus. And all this comes, this pramanya buddhi. Pramanya buddhi means this is a means of knowledge without which I cannot understand, I cannot hear. And the means of knowledge means what? Means of knowledge means that each means of knowledge is a king in its own realm. What the eyes do, the ears cannot do. You cannot say one day I am going to look at the rose with my eyes, the next day my eyes are very tired, so I am going to look at the rose with the help of my ears. Doesn't work. Each pramana, each means of knowledge is a king in its own right. It has a realm, it has a domain which is not encroachable by other means of knowledge. This one has to understand. And second thing about the means of knowledge you need to know is that each means of knowledge unfolds that which no other means of knowledge can unfold. and that you cannot come to know through any other means of knowledge. Each means of knowledge has a particular domain. It is a king of the domain. It unfolds what you cannot know any other way. And just like you back up your own eyes, this is me. I saw it with my own eyes. Mother Yashoda said to baby Krishna, don't tell me that you did not steal the butter because I saw it with my own eyes. It's easy to back up your own eyes and your own ears. Difficult it is to back up what? To back up the pramana in the form of words, because you don't operate it. But that same pramanya buddhi, that same buddhi with which you back up the eyes and the ears, as I saw, I heard, this is how you have to have that same shraddha for the means of knowledge which is coming from the Shastra, managed and handled by the Guru, so that you can see. You can see very, very clearly. So therefore Shravanam, and Shravanam doesn't mean one time listening to the teachings. Shravanam is setting in motion a conscious and a committed program of listening, because that listening alone wears out the ignorance and all its broods in the form of wrong perception, mistake centered on the self, tears, fears, anxiety, sorrow, etc. That has to be worn out, to which I expose myself to the teaching. And then what? The teaching will definitely 100% take place. Just like when the eyes are open and there is something to see, the sight will take place, even if it is a sight that is not a welcome sight. It will still take place. Similarly, knowledge will take place when the means of knowledge and the knower come, and the potential knower come into contact. This means of knowledge knocks out the notion of the knower as the agent of knowledge. It's a knowledge where there is no agent. It's a knowledge where the mind, neither the mind nor the ahankara is the agent. If there is an agent, it is, you can say it is as though Bhagavan is the agent. You are not the agent. The mind is not the agent. The mind is a place where the knowledge is received. That's why it is kept clear, crystal clear, and free of impurities. Emotional impurities, it is kept free and clear, so that one can, imbibe this knowledge. It's a knowledge where the Shastra is the agent. If you really want an agent, Bhagavan is the agent. And the Guru operates this means of knowledge. And what do? You receive it with trust and understanding. And this itself is enough to remove completely self-ignorance. Oh, then why are those two other things given? Mananam, Nididhyasanam. That we will see in the next session. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you.